Greetings, greenhouse people. We are back with another episode of Tech on Demand, brought to you by GrowerTalks magazine. Our goal, as always, is to help you grow your best crops ever, and that's why I reached out to Jeremy Weber, the ornamentals crop team member at Koppert. Jeremy has experience in propagation and finished plant production, as well as more than a decade of leading a team that works with growers across North America to develop holistic IPM approaches customized for each greenhouse and growing situation. Jeremy's a plant guy through and through, and he wrote an awesome article for the 2026 GrowerTalks Biosolutions guide, and that was published in June. For the guide, I challenged him to put a unique spin on how bio-IPM strategies lead to plant health, which in turn means fewer crop losses and a reduced need for rescue missions to save plants from pest and disease. He titled his article "The End of Rotation Anxiety" and explored an angle that he's truly passionate about, that although rotating crop protection products is definitely a key part of IPM and resistance management, it's sort of an old school way of thinking. If this sounds a bit bold and raises questions in your mind, I'm with you, which is why I'm sitting here with Jeremy at Cultivate 2026 in Columbus, Ohio, so we can dig deeper into the article to better understand what Jeremy is advocating for. Jeremy, my friend, welcome back to the podcast, and thanks for taking time during a busy show to chat. It's awesome to see you.
Thanks for having me. I mean, I'm having you here, I guess, but either way, thanks for the opportunity. This is always fun.
Awesome. And as I mentioned, your article is titled "The End of Rotation Anxiety." So let's tee up the topic and start things off with a little bit of context. So for growers who've spent their entire careers building rotations around FRAC and IRAC codes, what is the mindset shift that you're asking them to make?
Well, if I think really, and this it's such a big ask, you know, the more we talk about this, the more I'm like, I don't want to sound like a jerk. But, you know, at the end of the day, it really, when we're talking about biological sprays, the pitch has always been to rotate them.
Right.
And maybe a chemical company has one and they're like, hey, you can sub this in as part of your rotation to keep some of our chemistry going for longer.
Yeah.
And that's just not how they operate. It's not how they work. So, you know, we've really learned the best ways for specifically EPFs to operate. And it's not a one and done. It's not a rotational thing. You don't sub it in the middle of your thrips rotation, or, you know, we really see this with thrips parvospinus now, especially.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And it's just do it every week, and it works really, really well. But it's the people that still are only, we rotate this one and this one and this one. And, you know, we use 4 different biosprays, and we do a different one every week. That still doesn't even cut it.
Okay.
And it's really just pick one and hammer down, and then you see these results that you've probably never even seen before with that type of product.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think that traditional rotation programs are becoming harder to sustain these days than they were like 10 or 15 years ago?
I'm thinking specifically about some instances where we've had some very tricky problems with aphids. Mm-hmm. Grower imposed limitations of no 4As, no neonics, you know, and they've been able to execute, but it took a lot, you know. So yes, has it gotten harder? For sure it's gotten harder. Mm-hmm. Can growers still do it? All day, you know? You've got to be good and you've got to be on your toes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this is so cool, is that you don't need to do any of that.
Yeah. It sounds a lot simpler.
Maybe for aphids. Aphids are always going to be, I think, sort of the bane of the EPF existence. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if we're talking thrips, pesticide rotations for thrips, I don't buy it anymore. Okay. And I'm an IPM expert.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
I'm not a bug guy. I'm an IPM expert. You don't need to rotate for thrips.
And you've mentioned EPFs, and you do make this bold claim that EPF are essentially resistance proof. So can you, I guess, educate me and maybe the listeners and viewers, what are EPFs, and can you walk us through how they impact pests and why that's fundamentally different from how conventional chemistries work?
Deal. So yeah, I love acronyms.
Yeah.
And it's
we all do in our industry.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of military-ish.
There you go.
You know, military adjacent. But no, I think with entomopathogenic nematodes, those are EPNs.
Okay.
Entomopathogenic fungi, those are EPFs, and those are, you know, we all know what nematodes are.
Right.
But you know, with the fungi, that's essentially what we were all raised on initially, was Botanigard. That was the first one that anybody ever touched, and that sort of held it down for a while. And then, you got no fly, you got Met 52. Now we have Icerid, there's Principal. I know I'm missing a few more, but yeah, they're insecticides that are made from fungal spores.
Okay.
Those fungus, some way, shape, or form, germinate on the outside of the host, and they penetrate the skin and they kill it.
Okay.
And there's really no resistance that's going to be. We're not binding to some sort of receptor site.
Right.
We're attaching to the skin and literally tearing the thing open with hyphae. So it's there is no resistance mechanism for that in our lifetimes or our kids or our grandkids. And you just get more of it in the environment for it to work.
Okay. Is there any biological, this might be an ignorant question, but is there any biological or bio-IPM product or biological control where resistance is possible? I mean, I've never heard of anything, but
It's a great question, and I'm trying to think because I don't want to sound dumb. No, I don't believe so. Certainly not with macrobios, things with legs. There's nothing there. And micros, nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay.
There are some safer bio, you'll see in here where you've got some biopesticides, and I'm like, dude, pyrethrum is not a...
Right.
Pyrethrum has, there's definitely resistance mechanisms there. BT has resistance mechanisms.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you go. There's your one.
Okay.
BT is definitely, we see that in transgenic corn where it stops working by like the third life cycle of army worms, I think.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a corn expert.
Yeah.
But we sell a lot of nematodes into corn because the BT stops working.
Okay, well that makes sense. That makes sense. So in your article, you argue that many growers, including yourself, early in your career, have been disappointed by biological insecticides because maybe you treated them like chemicals. And I've also heard growers say, that bios don't work. You do hear that far less now than I think in the past. But what does that look like in practice? And what are growers missing when they expect like immediate knockdown from an EPF application, or really just immediate knockdown from a bio solution?
Managing your expectations is the key to life.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's very true.
Much less your IPM program. So, I think that's what this is. This is literally us trying to manage that expectation and go. If you only do it once, prepare for disappointment. It's only going to work a little bit. Now, granted, we have an EPA registered label on this product. It says when you spray it for aphids, you will control aphids. What you want is an 85 to 95% control of your aphids. You're going to get 10 to 15. Yeah. We can put it on the label for 10 to 15 or whatever it is. I'm not a label expert, but yeah, it works. But what you want is that 90%, I sprayed TriStar and everything fell off the plants. That's what you want.
Right.
And they just, biosprays aren't going to do that.
Okay.
If they're diluted or formulated in an oil, the EC carrier might do it. That happens a lot where it's like, man, we got a great knockdown. Yeah, because you could have just sprayed soft oil.
Yeah, right. Okay, no, that makes sense. So I guess how long does it typically take for like a weekly EPF program to start creating that hostile environment that you talk about, this sort of long-term impact that you're looking to get?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, really?
3 weeks is the magic window. So at least with ours, with Icerid, what we really see there is that third application, specifically when we're talking about thrips, the card counts just fall.
Okay.
And sometimes it's almost not even 3 weeks. It's really the third application. So sometimes that's at day 15 if growers are doing a 5-day reapplication interval. So yeah, it's actually a little bit faster than that. Technically, it's the third app.
Okay.
Right after that third app, that's when we start to see the population fall.
I mean, that seems pretty quick to me.
It is, but
Quick
again,
enough
the whole
for
point of the article is you've never sprayed, well, hopefully you haven't sprayed the same thing 3 times in a row.
True.
And that's it's very uncomfortable,
that's
right?
The mindset shift that we've talked about.
Yeah, and that's, this is my soapbox. This is my my hill to die on or kill for, however you want to look at it. That's the foundation. And BASF, I'm not going to steal this, BASF found it, I saw that in your magazine 3-4 years ago. The foundation is a biospray every single week.
Yeah.
And then you layer in chemistry over the top of that as needed based on what you're still trying to kill, or blow-ins or aphids. You know, we're still going to need chemistry for aphids for a little bit, I think. But yeah, that foundation every single week. And then, you start to see it by the 3rd, but what about the 10th?
Yeah.
You don't have a thrips problem.
Right.
And that's what I was saying. We don't need to rotate for thrips anymore.
Okay.
You really don't. I mean, it's a little more nuanced. Adding in an IGR is huge. So IGRs are I'd say it's symbiotic, where I know growers apply azotin or, any of these azidorectin products and are like, you'll hear about people doing them by themselves sometimes. And I'm like, there needs to be something else there.
Okay, so that's part of a program.
But yeah, I think ideally you're doing this every single week. You are tank mixing some sort of azidorectin or pedestal, novuluron, some sort of an IGR.
Yeah.
And not only does that actually directly target the pest, but it also weakens the exoskeleton.
Okay.
And we get better hyphae penetration. The insect's a little weaker, and we're able to kill it with the fungus a little bit more effectively. So you do that every single week, and if it's a soft-bodied pest, I mean, this can be leafhopper, it can be thrips, certainly, and this is the thing that a lot of growers are really starting to realize, and I think it was last year's, we have a photo of, or maybe it's in the article itself, mealybug.
Yeah.
And mealybug just, they're already covered in this, the meal, but it's also just covered in mounds of hyphae.
Okay.
But yeah, mealybugs have always been a, kind of a bugaboo for a lot of people, and it'll
just takes them right out
after that 3rd app.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
One app, sub it in for some, I'm normally doing this, that, and yeah, you're not going to notice it, but
yeah,
that routine thing's pretty effective.
Okay. So let's talk. So I know that you work a lot with growers who grow a range of different crops and a range of different stages. So this is going to be kind of a very broad question, but I trust that you're going to be able to nail this one. So if a greenhouse operation wanted to move away from these complex rotations, 7, 8, 10 product rotations, and adopt this bio-based approach to IPM tomorrow, what would a realistic implementation plan look like from if they're propagating all the way through shipping a crop?
Well, the first thing is, and this has been my job for 15 years, or convincing people to try this without losing sleep over it. That's the hard part. If you're a good grower, you don't want to try new things ever. Right. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah. You don't want to lose sleep. You don't want to worry.
Change should be painful for a good grower, I think. And for this, what you really want to do is find a way to implement this without causing a bunch of stress on you, the front office, anybody else, Right. So the beauty of this, we're not talking about macros. Hey, you got to pull this and this out of the rotation simply so that you don't kill this $500 cooler that we're shipping you.
Yeah.
There's none of that. Just mix it in with your existing rotation.
Okay.
And that's what we've seen for Thrips parvospinus very recently, is we didn't even have them stop the cleanup app.
Right.
They kept doing, I think, 4 or 5 products every single week. And then we said in this compartment, just add Icerid to that tank mix.
Yeah.
Just throw it in the tank with it. Night and day.
Wow. So the control was that.
Yeah. So you don't even have to stop doing the thing that you're like, this is the only thing that's keeping us in business or keeping the crop in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
You can throw this in the tank with it. I mean, there's some fungicide. Obviously, it's a fungus, so you have to pay attention with tank mixing fungicides. There's some limitations there, but you can tank mix it with darn near any insecticide that's out there. So you've already got this, 25 item. Just throw it in the tank.
Yeah.
Try it in this compartment versus that one and look at the results yourself.
Okay. And are there any, you've mentioned some pests already in this discussion, are there any pests or I guess pest problems that you are like, all right, this is a good one to start with? If you have this problem, I think I can introduce you to a bio-IPM approach that's going to be almost for sure successful.
Thrips or whiteflies are the two.
Okay.
The Iceria, Fumisoracea, the one that's in Icerid.
Yeah.
It was originally Poecilia myces, then it was Iceria. Now it's cordyceps.
Okay.
Yeah, that one, it was originally discovered killing whiteflies in the wild.
All right. Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
That's cool.
For points,
That's what I was, as soon as you said those pests, I was like, oh, some poinsettia.
it's a WP.
Yeah.
You know, you can spray it, fog it, drench it, spritz it, whatever you want to do. And I think we've built these, that was another article from a while back, like the evolution of poinsettia biocontrols, where just these effective but very complex bioprograms to get all these blind wasps into the crop that don't fly very well. And, it's just like, we can figure it out, but you got to have an engineering degree to implement it. Or you can just fog this every week.
Right. I was saying poinsettias are challenging enough.
Yeah.
So adding another layer of complexity, but this sounds like you're adding a simplicity factor to it. Just every week, come in, Iceria.
That's it. And I think it's so simple. It's kind of like, what are you selling?
Right.
I'd be very skeptical if I came into my greenhouse and was like, you just do this every week.
Yeah.
And you should be.
Right.
Good
But it's also
growers
why
should
you
be
partner with a
skeptical of
company like
everything.
Koppert, right? I mean, you're partnering with a company that's been around, is known for the science behind the products. So.
That's literally what we do.
Right. Absolutely. All right. This is kind of my final big question. It's kind of a big question. You write that the future of pest management isn't about finding the next silver bullet chemistry, but about building a simpler system that doesn't rely on one. Like you wrote that. 5 years from now, what do you think the most successful greenhouse pest management programs are going to look like? And what should growers be doing today to prepare for that future? Fast forward yourself 5 years.
I mean, I think you can already see it if you go out to like Bachman's.
Okay.
Grower of the year last year. Brad is a fantastic grower, and you can see this entire plant health concept already at work. Where it's crazy that this came up independently from you.
Yeah.
This is also our push as well, as to say, let's look at humics, let's look at silicone, let's look at, all of these other things that contribute to the overall health of the plant.
Right.
And having these EPFs in there every week, nematodes in there to break certain life cycles. The pesticide, the chemical pesticide requirement on top of that goes from here to there.
Yeah.
And it's already happened. I mean, there's growers that have adopted this. I think that it's gaining traction now.
Yeah.
It just gets bigger.
Well, when you say from here to here, I mean, I'm thinking like your cost goes down. REI hours go down, so you're in the crop more. Your employees maybe, hatred of wearing Tyvek suits goes down. Like the potential of resistance goes down. Like there's so many benefits that come from that.
And that's what happens when you go from bioskeptic to maybe 2 years in.
Yeah.
First year, sometimes you don't see the. If we're coaching you on that and you allow us to coach you on that, we're having you just put a toe in the shallow end. It's not hey, let's do the whole crop. Yeah. It's a little bit. So by year 2, when you do take a big chunk and do an entire crop, then you really see people realize, and it's different everywhere. Like you said, it could be. We had a guy go, last year we spent $40,000 at Gimplers on PPE, and we just didn't do that order.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
How
That's
much?
Wild.
We probably didn't charge enough for that program. But
right? I mean, that was just equipment. That was an equipment cost. That's unbelievable.
I was shocked.
Right.
But you come across this stuff all the time, especially the REI component.
Yeah.
Propagation greenhouses.
Such a big deal.
When the REI comes out of a facility, it's a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how to. You can't sell it. You can't put that on a spreadsheet. You have to commit. You have to do it, and then you start picking up all of these other things that are secondary to. Well, we took card counts from 15 a week down to 2. All right, that's cool. That was the target.
Yeah.
And then you find all the other stuff too.
No, that's a really good point. Do you think we're ever going to get to a tipping point where biologicals become the foundation and chemicals become the backup plan? Maybe foundation's the wrong word, but bios become like the first. No?
No, I mean, I'd love to envision that legislative future for the United States.
And that's what it would take, right? I mean, I don't think
that's what it's taken in every other country.
Right.
And we have a very different political landscape in the U.S. If you want to get a chemical legalized, you just buy that.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Right.
That's the way our country operates, and for better or worse. And no, I don't see that going away, but I certainly see it going from a 2 or 3% market share to a 50 or a 60 or a 70.
Okay.
At a certain point, it's cheaper.
Right.
We don't have an overabundance of labor. We don't have a bunch of people to do these applications.
Yeah.
We should be moving more towards autofoggers and things that don't require expensive people to be working overtime on a Saturday to do an app. And when that happens, then this dovetails into that perfectly.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Set it and forget it.
All right. Lastly, last question. Is there anything we missed? Are there any words of wisdom you want to leave our listeners or viewers with before we walk out of this booth this morning? And then I guess always have to ask, where can folks go to find out more information about your products and reach out to the Koppert team? Any final?
Yeah, words of wisdom. I think I don't think I'm the guy for that.
How about words of wisdom about EPFs?
Commit. Find an area that you're comfortable with, and again, it's not like, hey, everything you know is wrong. It's find a controlled area to do a test in. Find a range, find a compartment, find just a 30 by 100, whatever it is that you've got.
Yeah.
And do that every week. Find an IGR that you're comfortable with. Not a paid endorsement. I love Azosol from ArborJet. It's the only WP azidorectin out there.
Okay.
So you can tank mix a WP with a WP. Crop safety's through the roof compared to every other formulation of azidorectin that we've worked with.
Okay.
Do that every week somewhere. And if you want to keep doing the chemical rotation, keep doing it. But
you'll see results.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Buy a good quality product. Make sure it's,
Yeah.
Don't get it on Amazon.
There you go.
There is a
Always good advice.
There is a cold chain to this stuff. Buy it from a company that you Koppert. We're making sure that what arrives at your door is alive when it gets there. That is important for the success of the entire thing.
Yeah, it's a living product.
Yeah,
no, that's
and it's hard to assess quality on a bucket of powder.
Right.
All right, my wasps were all dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see that.
Yeah, guys, I need a credit. No problem. They're all dead. This looks the same if it got cooked in the sun or it didn't.
Right.
So make sure you're working with somebody reputable. That's always the problem. Bios didn't work. It's because they were dead.
Yeah. Interesting.
100% of the time. Now, we can go into 1,000 reasons why they were dead. But that, I've used bios, they didn't work. It's because they were all dead.
Yeah. And two years ago in the Biosolutions Guide, the 2025 guide, we talked about that chain that keeps them alive, how to assess them when they come in. I'll put a link to that in the show notes because I think that's probably really good to read and educate yourself about why they come in alive and why they might come in dead.
And then there's every time we pull a foliar residue test where we're kind of like, let's make sure we can do bios here. Oh, what do you know? There's Talstar.
Right.
So then there's bifenthrin, which is the bane of our existence, which is a 12-week residue on every product we sell, macro product that we sell. So, Icera doesn't care, but EPFs couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But that's bios didn't work. Yeah, because your crop was glowing in the dark with bifenthrin. You put a bunch of mites on it, they died, and your spider mites were triggered to lay more eggs because of the bifenthrin.
Huh. Interesting. All right, where can folks learn more?
That's my word of wisdom.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Stop using bifenthrin. Unless the government tells you have to. KoppertUS.com. Yep. That's our website. And, we're here for the rest of the show, which this will air after.
Yeah, this is going to air after the show.
This isn't live.
But they'll be here next year's show at Cultivate.
I think we're at booth 1403 until they kick us out. This is a good spot.
Yeah, for sure, right up front. Yep. Awesome. Well, Jeremy, I really appreciate your time, sir, for all that you've done to educate me about this over the years. It's been great. You're really good at challenging growers to push the envelope when it comes to biosolutions, but then understanding the realities of greenhouse. And you've spent a lot of time in a greenhouse and maybe will in the future. So,
I love being in greenhouses. It's that has never changed. I just don't have to water on the weekends anymore, which is pretty nice.
There you go. Well, appreciate it so much.
Thank
And
you.
I'm Bill Calkins with Tech on Demand, wishing you a fantastic season. On behalf of the entire Koppert team and Jeremy and your friends at Ball Publishing, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Take care out there.